We have a little bit of a listener mail that we got in this past week, and this is from the EMT in Florida. I know who this person really is, but you don't get to know that kind of thing. He says right here, he says, it's the EMT from Florida. Sorry it took me so long to write this email. I've been very busy with a 9-month-old and working around the Mrs. nursing schedule, and nurses have a hard fucking shift. Like 12 on, like it's like cops. It's like long-ass schedules. And he said, I wanted to share with you guys a very few memorable moments that I had running rescue, mostly pertaining to religion.
All right, I'm in.
The call was a basic, simple life support transport back to the nursing home from the hospital.
Okay.
One of about 40 facilities we visit all the time for patients who have become unresponsive, altered mental, or have fallen. It is truly unbelievable how easy older people break bones, especially in the pelvis. For some reason, that reminds me of a spring under tension. The slightest bump will fracture and or break the pelvis in older persons because it's under load all the time, like between all the other muscles pulling on it. I'm sure it would snap pretty easy.
Sad.
He said it was a shared room, and the patient we were returning was stable. There was already another patient in the room, and immediately I noticed that this young woman must have been no older than 18 years old. This was the first time I had seen anyone that young in a skilled nursing environment aside from an ICU and hospitals. With her were obviously her mother and father, and also a pastor who is clutching a Bible, citing verses from memory as if to convince her that the cancer that she has will inevitably kill her was somehow God's plan. The parents, I believe, in denial, I'm sure. We're doing nothing but praising the preacher and agreeing with him and saying small phrases to the girl, as if to reassure her that everything the preacher was saying was accurate. The amount of energy building up in me over what I was seeing was unbelievable. Paying more attention to the objects around her side of the room, I noticed that the old hospice pamphlets, meaning someone has tried to get her to consider hospice. And I'm sure her parents' decision came to realize that she is not receiving any kind of treatment for the pain, and her eyes and I could tell that she was not on any narcotics, let alone pain relievers.
God, no.
Going through like bad cancer with no pain relievers? Jesus. He says, we unloaded the patient who was just fine in the other bed, and when I walked past these 3 adults convincing this young girl that she is supposed to die, it felt like I was walking through a car wash of sandpaper. I could literally feel the friction in the air off of the lies that they were spewing out to her. As my partner and I moved the empty stretcher out of the room, I stopped, and my partner looked at me without saying anything, agreed to wait for a second, and I looked back at the 3 adults not looking at me, and one very young, dying afraid child staring at me, and it was as if I was able to tell her that there's something wrong without saying words, and she gave me a look that felt like she was telling me to take her out of that environment, that she was uncomfortable and unsafe. I've since been back to that nursing home, and by sheer luck I was sent down her hall next to her room again about a month later. She was not there. One of the torments that EMS personnel have is not being able to deal with issues afterwards. It takes a very strange and strong person to do what some of us do, and I'm proud that I have the mental capacity to continue on with whatever challenges may arise. The way I deal with these issues is by talking to other adults that are not in any kind of medical field, engaging their responses versus my own personal feelings. God, that's gotta fucking just tear you up when you see stuff like that happening. Especially people trying to convince a young girl that she should be dying. Like, it's okay, go ahead and die. Go ahead and die because, you know, you're going to receive the great hereafter. Or whatever the fuck they like to say, you know. The rewards of a heaven are not worth your God. They're just not worth it at all. And so, thank you for the story, EMT from Florida. We appreciate it. But Jesus, man, give us a funny one next time. Because that's brutal, man.
That was really sad.
I feel for that kid. Little kid. That's can't do cancer kid stories anymore. That's like twice in like 2 weeks I've made you cry, damn it.
I know.
It's brutal.
I'm over here like just hold it together. Last time I was like, I gotta take a break.
I gotta take a break. And you and Rena end up doing Walk the Egyptian a couple minutes later past the camera.
she knows how to like get me back.
Exactly. Me back. And that's what I'm trying to do right now because bummer story, EMT from Florida. I know it hurts and I know it helps to talk about it with other people, but god damn, I think you brought everybody in the room down on that one a couple of pegs. But necessary because it is bullshit, the stuff we have to deal with. And I know you have to deal with religious people on the regular. And sometimes there's just no way of helping people out of that kind of situation. And you as an EMT, you're not able to drag kids out of that room when they're having that discussion with the pastor and the parents. And you would have to think that the parents would be doing right by their kids, but in this case, obviously, they were doing right by themselves and not right by the kid. So,
well, there is also a little bit of light. EMTs often get, say, young women alone from their mothers or fathers and get to ask them about their sexual health. If it's pertinent, obviously, not just like lecturing young women.
Yeah, but, not just out of the blue.
Yeah, but they get a chance to tell young women that like they have a right to protect themselves. They have a right to their bodily autonomy. They carry some authority and some weight, and there are going to be times when you're going to get to say something that other people don't get to hear. And just, I don't know, obviously always act ethically, always act within the bounds that are required of you. There are going to be times when you're going to get to say to a young woman,
"Are you okay?
Are you okay?" Yeah. Or a young man. There's going to be times when you're going to be able to help people get out of really scary and bad situations and get the long-term help they need. And that's pretty amazing. And once you remove God from the situation, you get to deal with these people in their only life that we know they have.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's pretty incredible.
It's good on you. But like I said, make us laugh next time.
Oh, God, next time, please. Heavy. No cancer kids. Please.
No cancer kids. God damn it. I'm making a moratorium on the show right now. No more cancer kids, because that shit hurts, man.
It hurts so bad.